Reppin' Deep Cut, what's up? It's R3. And it's the Ruin. Oh, hey, look, it's one of the new stages. And hey, look, there's the other new stage. So, the new update for Splatoon has come out. And, I booted it up. I did, like, a single match. And then I haven't touched it since. We did get set back to A rank, A+ rank. At the very end, I was able to get back into S. And then I immediately got booted back down to A. I have no idea. Can I, just being real honest with you, I have no idea. Where's my fucking D&D dice set? Oh god, these are so dusty. Okay, so I'm gonna roll a let's roll a D6. I'm gonna roll a D6. If I get 1 or 2, I'll go Team Shiver. If I get 3 or 4, I'll go Team Frey. And if I get 5 or 6, I'll go Big Man. That is a 1. Oh god, a nat 1. So we're going Team Shiver. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how I'm settling it. Because I legitimately kind of have no idea. I'll be honest, I probably, like, I would have gone Big Man if I had rolled it, but, like, Big Man was the one I probably wanted the least. But other than that, you know, I was fine with any of the other two. Because I like them both. Honestly, Shiver's always, I thought, had a good design. Frey is a design that has warmed up on me. I didn't love it at first, but the more I see of it, the more I like it. Putting my dice back in my cup. Where's my... Yep, I got my D&D dice and a D2, which is just a coin. So we're playing... So this big run is in Umami Ruins. This is like my least favorite stage in the game. Legitimately, no joke, I think Umami Ruins is my least favorite stage in this game. I just do not like it. Like, at all. So for tonight's show, we actually have a very simple, we've only got 2 actual news stories. And then we've got a few things on WIBE. I've got an anime to talk about. I did watch an anime. So we'll talk about an anime. I do also have some, I have a book written down. I don't know if we're actually going to talk about it. I mean, I'll mention it. But I don't think I'm going to say anything more than, like, I read it. Because of, And I'll explain why I'm, like, kind of hesitant. But we'll get there. Alright, I'm a little hesitant, but trust me, it makes sense once I talk about it. And yeah, I think I have like a video game. We will talk about Starfield, kind of. There's an asterisk there, because I haven't actually played the game, but I'll explain that when we get to it. But yeah, so it should be, you know, it's going to be a very simple night. We are actually, you know, we're just going to play a one game of Big Run, and we're just going to actually watch the Mario Brothers Direct. Because I did not do a reaction, because it happened at fucking 8 in the morning. Like, if it had happened an hour earlier, or, like, you know, at the normal Nintendo Direct time of, like, 3 o'clock, we for sure would have done something. But the fact that it happened at, like, Pokemon does their showcases at, like, 6 a.m., this showcase was at 7, and that was just too inconvenient a time. Like, that was the... It was just, like, if it had been an hour earlier, I for sure would have done something. But it wasn't, so... Yep, we instead did the showcase when we did. And, you know, we're gonna watch it, because I did not do a live reaction. I literally watched it during my lunch break at work. So, yeah. Luckily, luckily it was pretty easy to avoid spoilers for, with the exception of the Switch OLED, which we'll talk about, because boy, do I have some thoughts on that. And in case I kind of wanted to know what the OLED was going to be, in case they revealed anything. Where is it? Oh, shit. Oh, we lost a guy. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, is that the new weapon? I remember hearing that there was going to be a new Big Run weapon. But I didn't actually know what it was. Oh, so so there's a new type of duel. Okay, that's interesting. We survived that by the skin of our teeth. Losing one player does not help. I don't know. I think have I ever gotten a good trophy in Big Run? I know we got a thing in the I know I did okay in Excellent. We got like bronze. We might have gotten a bronze in Big Run. I don't know. The problem with Big Run is that they get harder and harder each time. So every new Big Run is a little bit more... You know, it's a little bit more complicated. Yeah, every Big Run gets a little bit more... Like, players get a little better, so you now have to do a little better. Our basket is over there. And I think we're just entirely blocked from it. Yeah, we can't even get over to our basket. We just abandon it, basically. At least I thought it was over here. Yeah, no, that went awful. We just got cornered out from our base by those two hammerheads and just couldn't get close. Yeah, I want to say the last Big Run had like 100 as like its thing, so... Ooh, boy, we have a lot to work with there. But losing somebody really sucked. Alright, so let's watch the Mario Brothers Direct, shall we? Let me pull it up. I don't have a face cam or anything, just kind of deal with it.
So exciting! Welcome to the Flower Kingdom.
All right, I think that's
so distant land.
Hopefully that should be good.
Mushroom Kingdom. Mario and friends were invited here by the benevolent Prince Florian. But Bowser, the king of the Koopas, had other
Oops. Oh, come on.
plans. With just a single touch of the mysterious Wonder Flower.
And I'll be pausing this as we watch. So, just off the bat, I think this is awesome. Bowser becoming a castle is a really fun idea. This scene where with our Bowser Castle and all the piranha plants, really cool. That's a really cool scene. Visually, it looks great. So I think that's a great start to this trailer. It is still fair.
Thanks to his newfound power, chaos spread across the land.
Yeah, no, look at that Bowser Castle.
Now, it's up to Mario and friends to stop
So I've seen...
Bowser and save
Okay,
the
so you see that little caterpillar. I've seen a bunch of conspiracy theories that that little caterpillar over there is evil. Right? I think his name is Florian. And I don't know. The thing is, they call him Benevolent Leader. And of course that makes me think, oh, he's actually going to twist to be evil. But we're also... Is that just Kirby talking? Because that's how it works in Kirby. Oh, look, good guy Marks. Oh, hey, look, it's our friend Magalore. Right? Shit like that. And they twisted to be evil, and that's what we all expected from Elflin. And then, hey, guess what? Surprise, Elflin was actually good the whole time. It was just Elflin's parent that was evil. I'm going to use parent, for lack of a better word. So, is this Florian character bad? I don't know. It could be bad, but we're also in post irony here, so it may actually be good. I could see either thing possible. I don't know. Doing something like that is a very Kirby move.
In this presentation, we'll go over what's new in Mario's latest 2D side-scrolling adventure, the Super Mario Bros. Wonder Game. Let's jump in.
Yeah.
This is the Flower Kingdom. It's made up of 6 distinct
God, I love this music.
Circle the petal aisles, making a total of 7
So,
areas.
okay, so we see the 6 worlds, right? We got Pipe Rock Plateau, Fluff Peak Plux, Shining Falls. We have some sort of white sand desert. What looks... It kind of reminds me of like a poison area. And then this... It's got like a volcano or something like that there. But it's also like a dead area. And my thought is... So, usually Mario games have 8 worlds. So, 7 worlds seems kind of weird, but my guess is that the final world is us, getting onto the Bowser ship. That kind of like Peach's Castle in New Super Mario Bros. U, the Bowser ship, right? Us going onto it and like storming it is the final world of the game. I think that makes the most sense. And then I also expect, a secret like Star Road or... we see this thing in the back corner over here. I bet this is something. Right, there's something like that. We also have this over here, which might also be something as well. I think, is this supposed to be the Mushroom Kingdom back here? That might be. Ooh, and look at that. There's a lot of interesting things on this world map. But no, I would not be surprised if there's like a Star Road or something like that.
Areas to explore. Your adventure begins among the tubular hills of Pipe Rock Plateau. Once you get past the freezing foot of the mountain, you'll be aiming for new heights in Fluff Puff Peaks. Many trials await amidst the picturesque scenery and radiant cascades of
So all
shining
these
falls.
all these new areas, they do look very interesting. Right, I know they're following the traditional Mario structure of what grasslands, desert, ice, jungle, something, rock. What's the one? Water World, Rock World, Sky World, and Fire World. So far, we kind of seem to be following that pattern, but
Move around the map in each world.
eh.
You can even walk
And then we got this, which basically, these are like 3D, they remind me of like 3D World, where you kind of have that open map. I know 3D World still had a set course, but like map structure, this is 3D World.
Once you've played a course, you can quickly come back to it through the
And then you
courses
unlock
menu.
the ability to play
It's
them
an
in any
easy way to
order.
find the ones you want to play again. While in courses, you might notice some talking flowers.
So I see people are very divisive on these talking flowers. Some people like them, some people hate them.
They'll talk to you, livening up.
Personally,
I wonder what Goombas taste like.
I'm like, I think they're fine. It adds, Nintendo has always been very anti-voice acting, and they still very much are. So this is kind of a big deal, Look at this cast of characters. I saw somebody comment today that, like, if you were to show someone this cast of characters, they would think it was like a fan edit or a mod or something. And yeah, totally. That's right. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy. I did see the director of the game. So there's been some interviews with the director of the game. And in one of the interviews, he said the reason they added Daisy was because he has 2 daughters. And his daughters would fight over who gets to play Peach. So that's why they added in Daisy, so that way they had 2 female characters. And I like that, And it's, I like Toadette as well. I find Blue and Yellow Toad kind of dumb. But, right, one of them is fine. I probably prefer... I personally like the design of Blue Toad better, but eh. And then you've got all the colors of Yoshi, which, yeah, that's a lot. I don't know if we needed all 4 separate slots for different colors of Yoshi. But I get it. It's right. They'll explain it here in a second. And then Nabbit's back. And hey, guess what? Nabbit's our easy mode.
Besides Mario, you can also play as Luigi, Peach, Daisy, one of 2 Toads, and Toadette. They all play the same, so go with your favorite.
So they all do play the same. And that's one of the things I do like about 3D World is that the characters play differently. Right? Luigi jumps higher, Peach has her flutter jump, Toad is faster, and Rosalina has the galaxy spin. And it would have been cool to see that come back, especially part of me hopes there's more characters that we unlock in the game, because I would love to see Wario, Waluigi, and Rosalina in this game. I think all 3 of them deserve it. Especially Wario. Wario totally deserves to be here. And I would love to see him have, his special charge attack from his games. But, guess it doesn't work that way.
Or mix it up. The Yoshis and Nabbit, on the other hand, won't take damage.
So Yoshis don't take damage. So we know Nabbit didn't take damage. Because Nabbit was the easy mode in New Super Mario Bros. U. / New Super Luigi U. But Yoshi not taking damage, I'm kind of disappointed by that. Because Yoshi would be a cool character to play as. But now he's just baby mode. What I would have rather had them do is make it so that you could turn these settings on and off for any character, right? Oh, do you want to play the game where Mario doesn't take any damage? Well, yeah, sure, turn that on in the settings, right? Give us the accessibility options. Instead of having accessibility characters like Yoshi and Nabbit, right? Make it so that any character can have these options, right? Make it so that any character can have a double jump like this, or the flutter jump. Right, it would be a cool addition, right, to give them, right, these little character traits. But no, that's not what they're doing. And so that's kind of disappointing, right? I feel like they should have just given every character this option. Because I know Nintendo, out of the 3 big players, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo is by and far the worst at its accessibility options. Which is very ironic given Nintendo's family-friendly nature, but it's the truth. But no, I definitely, them having this at all is a good thing, but I definitely feel like they could have just made it so that these options were there for every character. Right? Any character could do a double jump. Any character could have this invincibility. Also, Yoshi's face when he eats something, it's so different, but it's just weird.
Speaking of enemies, here are some of the new ones you'll find.
I love some of these new enemies. So here's another thing we found out. This is going to make all the Paper Mario fans pissed off. Because, right, infamously, Paper Mario wasn't allowed to... Paper Mario Sticker Star wasn't allowed to create any new characters. And Nintendo fans have been holding that against Nintendo. Paper Mario fans have been holding that against Nintendo since the day the game came out. And right, with Sticker Star and Origami King and Color Splash. But then you hear this game, and in an interview, the director of this game said that during a period of development, they were not allowed to use any traditional Mario enemies. So, right, Goombas, Koopas, Boos, they weren't allowed to use any of them, and instead had to come up with a bunch of new ideas. Right, they basically backed themselves into a corner and forced themselves to work out, which is great. Right, that's exactly what I want. And now this is just another piece of ammo we have to hold against Nintendo when they inevitably fuck up the next Paper Mario game. It is inevitable. But these new enemies look great. I love these little hats, right, that jump with you. These are from Yoshi's Island, right? I'm pretty sure these enemies are just straight up from Yoshi's Island. Conks. Oh god, another Thwomps and Romps and Bomps and something. Mumsy is such a fun name. Mumsy. Mumsy. I love these things designed. Their little stupid face like that is so cute. But no, I think all these new enemies look great. Again, forcing variety. And you still have the old guys there as well. Boos look fantastic. Why? I thought it was Lakitu. Alright, now we get into the Squeak Squad part of the presentation. So Elephant is weird, but, you know, I'm down for it.
Swing your trunk to attack enemies, destroy blocks, and even do this.
Now, the speculation had been that what if, because in the website it specifically mentioned Elephant as like a unique power-up, and the thought had been like, what if only Mario gets Elephant, and maybe like Luigi turns into a giraffe, right, stuff like that. But no, every character gets an elephant form, and you know, it's dumb, but I like it. I like it, you know. I saw someone make the comparison that, I saw somebody make the comparison for the elephant forms, that is like, you know, we've just allowed games to be weird again. Yeah, do those weird fetish people exist? Will they inevitably fetishize the Elephant Peach? Yes. Are games allowed to be weird again? Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. It's making games better. Right? The car form in Kirby Forgotten Lands was the other comparison. Yeah, go off. Do it. So, speaking of Kirby, Bubble was a power-up in Kirby Squeak Squad. And it worked, right, where you threw a bubble at an enemy, and it turned them into their power-up. So, like, you throw it at Poppy Brothers Jr., and it became a bomb bubble. And so this, right, you can turn enemies into coins and whatnot. I think this is a neat power-up. What makes it interesting is this. The fact that it can be used as platformers. That gives it so much potential. Kind of reminds me of a shovel-up power in that way. Right, something like Mobile Gear or something. Now, Drill, on the other hand, a lot of people have also compared this to Drill from Kirby Forgotten Lands. But you know what other Kirby power-up it reminds me of? Animal, which was a power-up in Squeak Squad. They literally just took both of the new power-ups from Squeak Squad and put them in this game. I know Animal had a lot more to do with, like, digging, like you would in, like, a Zelda game. But no, still, this is... And I know Mario's had a drill before, but I just can't help but make the Squeak Squad. I love Squeak Squad. It's a very simple but fun Kirby game. But I think the cool thing about it is this. That you can burrow underground. That's neat. But you can also dig into the ceiling. That's really cool. That's like a neat little thing that they definitely didn't have to do, but I think that has a lot of potential. And then, of course, fire returns. At least at the moment, it does not look like ice is returning. Oops. So, right, it doesn't look like ice is returning. But what I will say, you know, I'm glad of these 3 new power-ups, none of them involve Mario flying. Because that seemed to kind of be the holding pattern for a while. Right? Oh, hey, look, we have the propeller suit that allows Mario to fly. We have the Tanuki tail. We brought that back. It allows Mario to fly. We have the acorn suit. Guess what it does? It allows Mario to fly. I'm glad none of the power-ups involve Mario flying. You know, this definitely feels like them breaking from the holding pattern of New Super Mario Bros., which is exactly what we needed, right? And they're just weird. But yeah, Ice Flower isn't back as well, it seems, which I am glad, because I replayed New Super Mario Bros. U earlier this year, and I swear to God, every other level of that game uses the Ice Flower. I'm pretty sure the Ice Flower gets more use in that game than the Fire Flower does. And after a while, it just drove me crazy. I was like, why is this game using the Ice Flower so much? So I'm really glad that's not back. And instead we got Bubble, which seems way more interesting.
This is a wonder flower, a plant that grows in the Flower Kingdom. It's said they thrive off this world's mysterious power and release it when in bloom. That's the power Bowser was after.
You know, I really hope they do something. You know how at the end of Kirby games, we have these really crazy moments where it's like, hey, guess what? Kirby's going to absorb the battleship Halberd. And, you know, take that to fight the Star Dreamer or whatever. Or in Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, he absorbs a giant truck, right? I really hope this game has a really cool ending like that, right? Because we've got giant battleship Bowser. I hope Mario also right? I don't want it to be a shooter, but I hope they do something weird like that with the Wonder Flower. Because most Mario endings play it pretty safe. I'm pretty sure all of the new Super Mario Bros. Games just have Bowser turn giant, right? Because, again, those games are holding pattern. I really hope they do something fun with the ending of this game. They might, but they might not. But no, these wonder effects look very interesting. Again, it's just Mario on drugs, but it seems fun, right? Some of these are very interesting.
The terrain may tilt. You could end up in a free fall. Bubbles might bubble up.
This one, where it's shifting the perspective to make it look, you know, like a top-down platform, or like a top-down game, like a Zelda game. Like one of the old 2D Zeldas. This is so neat. Like, I think this is really cool. Like, yeah, go off. Space stuff. I mean, we had the space stuff in Mario Maker 2, and that was neat. I never saw anything do amazing with it. You can become a Goomba. That's a donkey bit, isn't it? We'd seen the spike ball before. We've seen the balloon in other Mario games, but again, the weird fetish stuff. But you know, just go off. Who gives a fuck what those weird perverts think?
And the course will return to normal. Some courses need to be unlocked using the Wonder Seeds you've collected.
Okay, so they're kind of like the star coins or the green stars.
You'll also earn a Wonder Seed as thanks from a Poplin when you clear a course.
Poplins. Oh, here's the thing. Oh, let's go.
You'll unlock in-game badges that change up the way you play when equipped.
Okay, so it has been 10 years since New Super Mario Bros. U. And in that time, platformers have made a lot of leaps and bounds. Whether that be games like Shovel Knight or Celeste, or even platform-adjacent stuff like Cuphead or Hollow Knight. And so seeing these badges here, this is the first time in 10 years that I really feel like Mario has, you know, evolved. Looked at some of the stuff that modern platformers are doing and been like, yeah, let's implement that in our game. Because these badges remind me a lot of the badges from Hollow Knight, or from some of the upgrades from Shovel Knight. One of these badges, I'm pretty sure, is just one of the, looks like the recovery from Cuphead, right? There's these innovations that platformers have made that Mario has always just been very traditional. So I legitimately think this is the best thing in the Direct. This is the thing I like the most. This is the thing I'm most excited for. Because it feels like a modern platformer. Not just some old school Mario platformer that hasn't changed since 1992 or whenever Super Mario World came out. No, this feels new and refreshing. Right? It also kind of... There are certain things where I'm kind of like, I wish... The one thing about this game that I have a problem with... we'll save it. We'll save it for later. But no, I think this is great. I love these badges. They all look super interesting. Right? Yep. I'm pretty sure this is one of the armors in Shovel Knight. Wall jumps are in again, Celeste. They're in tons of games. I can't think of a game that does a dolphin kick off the top of my head. But this is cool. Crouch jump, again, makes sense. I can't think of anything that does something like this, outside of, like, Terraria. This reminds me of, the safety bounce reminds me of Cuphead. Because that's basically how the power thing works in Cuphead. A sensor also reminds me of something like Hollow Knight. Coin magnet. Yep, great. This one makes the game harder, which I think is great. Jet Run, Speed Runner. I think we had talked about before, I would love for this game to have a speedrunner mode. You see so many games nowadays that introduce a speedrunning mode, even when they don't really need it. I would love for this game to have a speedrunning mode. I know it won't, but I would love to see it have one. And this is just like the first step of that.
And you can run in the air for a bit. There are many more badges with different abilities. From the convenience
I think these badges are great.
Only one badge can be equipped per course.
I wish you could equip more than one. That would be, or if like as you play through the game, you unlock the ability to pick up more, but whatever.
Some badges can be earned by clearing special
This reminds me of Shovel Knight. Again, specifically Spectre of Torment, I think, you play special levels to unlock special powers.
to exchange flower coins you collect in courses for badges.
Okay. So we knew local co-op was coming back, and it works just like it did in the new Super Mario Bros. Games.
Switch system. Pick your favorite character. Jump into the adventure together.
I think I played New Super Mario Bros. Wii in co-op. It was such a pain in the ass.
As a ghost.
Now here's the thing.
If another player reaches them before time runs out, they'll jump right back into action. Your group won't lose a life either.
Okay, so I want to talk about this. One of my biggest problem with this game is the fact that they've brought back the life system. In my personal opinion, the life system is a very archaic feature. As in, it's something that they used to do in arcades to get you to spend more quarters. But nobody plays arcades anymore. I know some people do, but that's like claw machines and shit. Right? Arcades aren't the same way they used to be. And we don't need arcade mechanics in modern day video games. Super Mario Odyssey got rid of those mechanics. I want to say Kirby and the Forgotten Lands got rid of those mechanics. Kirby might have gotten rid of those even before then. Right. Did I say Mario Odyssey? Mario Odyssey. Crash Bandicoot 4 got rid of the life mechanic. Right? We're seeing modern day platformers finally get it and get rid of the life mechanic. But then the question becomes, well, what do you replace it with? And I love Hollow Knight and Shovel Knight's solution, which comes from Dark Souls. So what those games do, and I'm going to pull it up here in a second. So in Hollow Knight and Shovel Knight, when you get defeated, you drop your coins. And then you can go back and collect them again. Or in Hollow Knight, you can go find your ghost and get your stuff back. And I kind of wish that's what it did here. Where when you died, your ghost got left behind and you dropped some purple coins. Right? Because you see the purple coins, right? They have 148 in the screenshot. I wish they had made it so that way when you died, you drop like 10 or 20 of your purple coins. Maybe it's some incremental amount based on how many you had. And then when you get back to that point in the level, you're able to get your purple coins back. And then they did that instead of a life system. And, you know, keep this the same way. Have your little ghost float around, where if somebody else touches you, you get revived, or the online thing we'll see here in a second. Have that in there as well. But I wish they had gotten rid of the life system and replaced it, you know, with a Dark Souls system. Because the Dark Souls system works so well. And it works fantastic in games like Shovel Knight and Hollow Knight. So that's kind of my biggest disappointment with this game so far is that I wish they had implemented something like that.
Player reaches them before time runs out, they'll jump right back into action.
But no, I think this idea of the ghost and not losing a life is a good idea, especially with the online thing that he's talked about in a second.
You can jump on their back and ride them around the course.
Riding Yoshi.
If you're also playing as a Yoshi,
So I've seen people freaking out about Yoshi riding a Yoshi. This is not the first time Yoshi has ridden a Yoshi. Yoshi is, though, suffering riding the online Mario.
if you connect online, you might see
So when I first saw this, my first thought, as I'm assuming most people thought, was that, oh, you're seeing ghosts of other people playing the game. And I'm sure there's some sort of mix of other real people in ghosts.
you can come back to life by
But I like this, right, that you become a ghost and you can hit other people. But as you can see, those players are reacting in real time. So there is definitely an element of this game where you're seeing these people in real time playing the courses. Which I want to say Mario Maker 2 did something similar.
You can also place a standee in a course.
Standees, these remind me of the collectibles, like the keychains from Kirby.
Not so easy
They kind of seem to work similar.
fellow players.
But no, at first I was kind of like, oh, well, we're just
Prizes from the
playing
popular
against
shop
ghosts.
to your collection.
But we'll see how it works here in a second.
You'll get. When you come into contact with an online player or their standee, you'll see their username.
This heart point thing is an interesting idea, right? It reminds me of, again, it reminds me of kind of Dark Souls. Like, I know we're not, like, Mario Maker had, like, messages. We definitely don't need messages back.
And more.
But
will earn you hard points.
I'm all for the Dark Soulsification of Mario.
While playing online,
Now,
you also have the option
this is what so, right, I was kind of disappointed on the online. And then you find out, no, you can create a room and play with your friends. Right?
friends.
You can create a room, play with your friends, you can see what levels they're playing,
Enter courses together and even
right?
race through
And you're playing in real time, and you can host a race.
start a race by
This is a great, the race is a fantastic idea. I love this.
then make a
Totally.
run for it.
But you know what else? Because again, in an interview with the director, what they were talking about is when making the online mode, they didn't want it to be annoying, right? They wanted you to be able to play with other players without it being annoying. And I think they've managed to do it by having the onlines be like transparent, like ghosts, right? Isn't it in like GTA 5 when you play online, you can have a setting where like other players can't attack you or something like that? That's kind of what it reminds me of, right? Is like you have a setting turned on so that way other players like can't bump into you or pick you up and throw you off cliffs. Like you can still do all that stuff in the local multiplayer. But I feel like turning that off for the online multiplayer was definitely the right move to make. I'm actually really satisfied with this online. Like, I would, based on, like, the initial, like, first few seconds, I was expecting, like, oh, this is gonna suck. No, I actually think they did a really good job with this. No, Color Me actually really impressed. I think this is gonna work really well. As long as it's not too laggy.
Courses, you'll need to grab a wonder
Because I know Mario Maker 2 had some really laggy online. But no, these friend races and these lobbies and whatnot is a great idea.
or syncing up with friends for riveting
Yeah,
races.
no, I think this is great.
You can enhance your experience with online play.
What a beautiful day!
And yeah, just everything about this looks so well done. Does it remind me of New Super Mario Bros. U? Yes. But does it feel like it's doing a lot of new shit that's, breaking the holding pattern? Yes. And I'm so tired of the holding pattern. right? I want them to do something new, and this looks new. I'm so... This is the most excited I have been for a 2D Mario game since the Wii game. Yeah, because New Super Mario Bros. 2 had an interesting concept, but it messed up on execution. Specifically, the fact that your goal was to collect 1 million coins, but that was it, right? There was nothing to spend coins on, there was nothing to do with the coins, it was just collect 1 million coins. That was kind of boring. This game luckily remedies that problem by having the purple coins being able to buy upgrades and extra lives and whatnot. Right? Like, there's a reason for purple coins to exist. That's great. And then New Super Mario Bros. Wii, or New Super Mario Bros. U, was literally just New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but with a different coat of paint. Not even really a different coat of paint. They just made it look a little prettier. Because there were some levels that were literally just 1-for-1. Not, I mean, basically. Like, they used all the same assets and whatnot. A lot of the level design philosophy. Yes, did you have cool areas like the, Van Gogh level? Yeah. But those were so few and far in between. New Super Mario Bros. U, while a decent game, is safe. It's generic. This feels like it's... I'm not going to say it's taking a risk or anything like that, but this definitely feels weirder and more interesting. So I'm very excited for this game. Now, this Switch OLED is so disappointing. When I heard about a new Mario Wonder Switch, because I knew this was coming. I predicted this back in, like, July, that this was going to happen. But it's got a little Mario logo and some coins. Woo. I don't know anybody who... Again, this thing is going to sell like gangbusters, because 2D Mario games, I want to say, like, the worst-selling New Super Mario Bros. Game still sold, like, what was it, like, 10 million units? Okay, that's probably... that you did not sell 10 million units. Probably with the Switch version combined. But no, 2D Mario games do very well. This Switch, someone pointed out, is specifically made for people who saw the Mario Brothers movie and hadn't bought a Switch yet. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm just making a red Switch is super generic. Let me... give me a second. My idea for a Switch... And that's the end of the stream, by the way. I'm just going to pull up my thing. So when I heard the idea of a new Super Mario Brothers, or like a Super Mario Wonder Switch, my idea was this. Oops. So, right, you have blue Joy-Cons and like this purplish, pinkish, magenta color. Because, you know, you see the Super Mario Wonder logo, and it's got the blue and the purple. So my idea was, you know, you make a blue Joy-Con and you make a purple magenta Joy-Con. That's what the Mario Wonder Switch should have looked like. And they should have done a Pro Controller that looked just like, right, like the Splatoon Pro Controller is blue and yellow. They should have done a Pro Controller that used these colors as well. And then, you know, they could have put, like, little secrets, like, little, like, a Wonder Flower over here. Maybe, you know, one of these, like, they could have put a Wonder Flower over there, an Elephant Acorn on the other one, or something like that. You know, they could have made them look nice, but you compare this new Mario Switch to, you know, the Zelda Switch, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Switch, the Splatoon Switch, and it just looks so bad in comparison. This is what the Mario Wonder Switch should have looked like. At least it's more interesting than red. But I digress. So that was the Mario Brothers Direct. And yeah, no, I think it looked good. I'm super excited for the game. It does... God, it comes out the same week as Spider-Man 2, and like a few days before it releases is Sonic Superstars. So you have 3 big games all back to back, and that sucks. Having those 3 games like that, oh, that kind of sucks, man. Because there's just too much stuff to play. But I'm excited for Mario Wonder. I legitimately think that that was a great presentation. The game looks great. Yeah, no, I have no reason, nothing in that presentation, like, again, the big thing for me are the badges. I think the badges are a super interesting idea that, you know, have so much potential. I just hope they do something great with them. But it's modern platforming. Modern platforming in an old school Mario game. Where have you been? So I'm excited. I'm excited to say the least. Because I do like 2D Mario. Right? My favorite is World, actually. I know a lot of people prefer 3. I'm a big World fan, Super Mario World fan, though. But no, I like it, and I like the new Super Mario Brothers games. I just don't love them. This looks like a game I could love. It's weird, man. I'm a fan. You know, I like weird stuff because I'm a fan of Pikmin. And Pikmin is fucking weird. But that's what makes Pikmin good. So yeah, that was a great direct. You know, 15 minutes. And the whole reason they did it on August 31st is because PAX is this weekend. But also Nintendo is having their Nintendo Live event. And at the Nintendo Live event, they have a Super Mario Wonder booth where you can play the game early. That's why they did this. Because usually they do a Nintendo Direct, and then are like, hey, check back in a week or two and see the Super Mario Wonder Direct. Like, that's what they did for Animal Crossing or Splatoon, right? They're like, hey, check back at a future date to see the full-on Direct about this. And no, they did it early because they were going to show off the game at PAX, or the Nintendo Live event. So, I've seen some speculation about whether or not a Nintendo Direct is going to be happening in September. I still 100% think it is. They only did it early. They only did this Mario one early to preempt PAX. And now that they have, there has been a Nintendo Direct in September every year for the past, 10 years. I do think we're getting it, and if I had to guess, it's going to be, the 13th or something? It's going to be, the 12th through the 14th. I don't think it's going to be next week, but I think it's going to be the week after that. So I fully expect a Nintendo Direct to be coming. You know, look forward to that. Oh god, GooTuber. I'd actually think it'd be really weird if we didn't. I mean, they might save it for the end of the month. I haven't ruled that out. But it'd be really weird if we didn't get a Nintendo Direct in this month. I know they don't have that many games to show. Mostly just, you know, show us some more Super Mario RPG. Show us... I guess we find out more about Luigi's Mansion, when that's coming out. Because I could see that being out in March. Maybe give us an official name for that Princess Peach game. I don't think we're going to get any, Metroid Prime 4 news. But there are other things they can show as well. You know, show us some of the first stuff from next year. Because the Switch 2, I fully expect to be coming out at the end, right, in that, October season. Because usually consoles come out in that October season. It's only rare instances like the Switch or the 3DS where they come out before that. So I do fully expect the Switch 2 or whatever it's called to be out, you know, later in the year. I don't know, it could be in May, but I don't think so. But, you know, I fully expect a Nintendo Direct. I think it'd be weird if we didn't get one. Yeah, it'd be weird if we didn't get one. So, sometime in the next week. Yeah. But yeah, no, the Mario Direct was great. So the next thing we got is a story on Volition. So if you do not know, Volition is the studio behind Saints Row. I would argue that's their most famous thing. But they also did the Red Faction series, which, if you weren't around for the PS2 era, the Red Faction series was famous for its destructible cover, right? So, like, Red Faction would have, like, entire buildings that you could destroy. And it was really cool to, you know, see on, like, in, like, a 3D game, just have entire buildings blow up. It was really... They weren't the greatest games, right? Like, even later ones like Red Faction Guerrilla had problems. But it was an interesting idea. I want to say the games took place on, like, Mars or something. I don't know. I don't know that much about them. But it's an interesting idea. Definitely destructible cover and whatnot was huge, was a highly influential thing that we see in tons of other games. But yeah, they were really, it's kind of like, right, you know how, is it Max Payne invented bullet time? Right, like they're the first game to really do destructible cover the way that we see in a lot of modern games. But yeah, so Volition, it's kind of sad that the writing was kind of on the wall. And it really sucks that in the gaming industry, one bad game is enough to ruin a studio. Because they had the Saints Row reboot come out in like September of last year, and that one game doing bad was enough to completely destroy the studio. For some reason, part of me thought that Volition had already been shut down at some point by like EA or something. Yeah, for some reason I remember like some studio, it must have not been Volition, but one of the big studios got shut down because EA has shut down so many studios. Maybe I'm thinking of, maybe I'm getting them mixed up with like Pandemic or Visceral. I'm probably getting them mixed up with, because right there, Volition, I'm probably getting them mixed up with Visceral. But yeah, for some reason I thought they had been shut down and brought back, because the period between Get Out of Hell and the modern Saints Row was a long time. But no, the first Saints Row I played was 3, and I didn't love 3, if I'm being honest. Saints Row 3 was okay, but then I went back and played Saints Row 2, and that was very good, and Saints Row 4 was very good as well. I really enjoyed Saints Row 4, and Get Out of Hell was fun as well. You know, it was fun. It wasn't that complicated, but it was fun. But no, I must have told this story somewhere in the past. My Saints Row 4 story. So I'd been playing the game, right, and I'd been enjoying it. And I got to the final boss of the game. And I'm playing it, I beat it, the end credits are rolling, and then my power goes out. So, like, my power goes out as I'm watching the end credits. I boot up the game, I don't know, like half an hour later, when my power finally goes back on, and my save file had regressed to before I'd beaten the final boss. So, like, I got rewound, because I guess it didn't save after beating the final boss. So I then had to fight the final boss again. And for some reason, on a second playthrough, I just couldn't beat it. I struggled so much to fight the final boss the second time. It just absolutely kicked my ass. And for some reason right, so I never actually, like, there might have been like a post-game thing in Saints Row 4 that I never played because I don't think I ever actually rebeat it. Like, I tried for a little bit, got annoyed, and then left to go do something else, and I don't think I ever picked up the game again. Because I didn't even buy Saints Row 4, because I think my brother bought it. Because he enjoyed Saints Row 3, unlike me. Because maybe I played Saints Row 2 after 4, because maybe I really liked 4. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, maybe I should go back and play 2. Which I know people really like 2. But yeah, no, it really, I guess the story behind Volition shutting down is that they were part of the Embracer group, which Embracer has been buying up all these studios, right? Embracer is trying to pivot themselves as the king of the middle shelf game, which, you know, I personally believe middle shelf games have a place in the industry, right? A game made on a tight budget that is not expected to sell all the copies in the world, but, you know, like, oh, we're going to make a game for I'm just going to make up a number, a $20 million budget. I'm talking in movie terms here. Right? Oh, we're going to make a game for a $20 million budget, and we expect it to sell 500,000 copies. That'll make our money back. Again, those are probably lowballing numbers. But games like that don't really exist anymore. Right, the middle shelf game died a long time ago because companies like EA and Ubisoft believed that no, we don't need middle shelf games. We need AAA games that, sell all the copies in the world, that, are considered a failure unless they sell more than 3 million copies. A la Dead Space 3, which started off as a middle shelf game. Right? Dead Space, the original, was a middle shelf game that, then got bloated by EA into one of the biggest franchises that just couldn't live up to the hype. And yeah, it was something crazy like that, like 3 million copies, or else it'd be considered a failure. And it was, because it didn't sell at 3 million copies. Just one of the many scummy things EA/Activision Blizzard/Ubisoft has done. But no, I feel like definitely Volition has their place in the industry as the king of the middle shelf game. But, like the rest of the AAA game industry, one bad game is enough to ruin a studio. Right, we've seen this time and time again. And it really sucks that, right, like we're looking at, like someone pointed out with Starfield, that if Bethesda had not been bought by Microsoft, Starfield would have had to have released 2 years ago. And it definitely would have been another Fallout 76/Cyberpunk scenario, because, they would have had to have released the game to get their money back. But, because they were bought by Microsoft, they then had the time and the money where they could take longer on the game to, polish it, fix some of its problems. Because that's exactly what happened with Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was forced to release a year and a half before it was even done. Some will argue it's not even done until the big new update comes out next month. Or this month, I guess. I think it comes out like the 29th. Right? Some will argue that. And they're not entirely wrong to argue it. But no, that's kind of, the AAA gaming space. Right, Super Mario Wonder. During one of those developer interviews, the director said that the game, Nintendo did not give them a deadline, and just was like, hey, get the game out when you can. So they had all the time in the world to develop as many ideas as they wanted. And I want to say they said they came up with, like, over 2,000 different ideas for the game. Doesn't mean they implemented all 2,000 of them, because, feature creep becomes a thing at some point. But they definitely, it would not surprise me, if they came up with over 2,000 ideas. That very much seems like a Nintendo thing to do. Gosh. So yeah, sometimes having the backing of a big studio allows for games to have more time and more budget, so that way they're not rushing to get out a subpar product like, Cyberpunk or even the most recent Saints Row. But I'll miss Volition. I really did like Saints Row 4 was so much fun. If you never played it, I'd highly recommend it. Saints Row 4 and Get Out of Hell. Get Out of Hell was not as good as 4, but it was still fun. Yeah, I had fun with Get Out of Hell. Okay, I don't want to stray too far from it. But yeah, no, Volition... Yeah, and they were shut down, like, immediately. And that sucks, And then, right, they shut down, but, like, the day prior to that shutdown announcement, Sony had announced that their PlayStation Plus game of the month is going to be Saints Row, the Saints Row reboot from last year, which I would say is salt on the wound, but if anything, it just shows more problems, because guess what? PlayStation Plus, I don't have this as a news story this week, I forgot to add it. PlayStation Plus, the online membership for PlayStation, is increasing its price by $20 a year. So right before it was $60, now it's $80 a year. That fucking sucks. It's all a scam. Like, that's the worst part. Is all of these online services are just fucking scams to get free money, right, from players. Alright, like, at least Nintendo doesn't charge you that much for their scab. Unlike some other studios. But yeah, no, PlayStation... I don't think Xbox has gone up in price in years. PlayStation has literally no reason to go up in price, other than the fact that they can because they're a bunch of greedy assholes. So that fucking sucks. You know, PlayStation going up in price sucks. That's just not... The triple... You know, for every good thing, there's at least 5 bad things about the AAA gaming industry. This is sadly nothing new. Alright, we did pretty good. See, in an earlier big run, 92 would be enough to give us a bronze, maybe even a silver. I don't think 92 is going to be enough. If I'm just being honest. Alright, let's jump in for another. So, what have I been playing? Well, I've been playing some more Stardew Valley. You know, I'm playing with people who have never played the game before. So we're definitely taking it slow. We're going easy on it. And as a result, we've only finally just made it to summer. We've been in spring this whole time, you know. The fishing minigame. They have been struggling so much with the fishing minigame. But, you know, they did it. So that's been going. You know, they're learning. They went from being not able to catch a single fish in an entire day to being able to catch like 5. So, yeah. So it's slow progress. Because we're all playing, right, same save file, we share money. We were finally able to raise enough money to get everyone a backpack, which was nice. But we have been unable to get everybody, oh gosh, I figured that's how that was gonna work. That's cool. But yeah, we were able to get enough money to get everyone a backpack. So now everyone's got a much-needed inventory upgrade. But yeah, what is it? We did the flower dance. That worked fine. We did the flower dance. I bought a rare crow, which I definitely shouldn't have, but that's one of those things I try to do in every Stardew Valley or playthrough, of which I've only done, like, this is, what, my, like, second or third? Probably second. I don't know. I try to get the rare crows, though. That's, like, one of those little, like, personal achievements. So, yeah, I spent some of our money on a rare crow. God, did this all fall apart? Where is... yeah, the farm is just, you know, they've actually, so one of the players hasn't been, like doing, right, they've mostly just been focused on fishing and, clearing the farm. So our farm's actually mostly cleared out, but we haven't bought any tool upgrades yet. And that's, like, one of those things where it's like, God, I need to go get some tool upgrades. Like, I've had the stuff to get a, the first copper upgrade, and I just haven't done it yet, because, you know, we've had to get everyone a backpack. And that costs a lot of money. But, you know, it's been going fine. Stardew Valley's been going fine. What else? What else have I been playing? There was another... Other than Vampire Survivors, I swear I had something else. Oh, so Nintendo had a sale recently. And I was looking at the games on sale, and I was like, you know what game I never picked up? Clubhouse Games 51. So, right, that's that collection of, like, 51... It's a Nintendo-published game, where it was kind of like, for like, the Switch, for a little bit, it was kind of like the closest thing we had to, like, Wii Sports, because it had, like, bowling and like, tennis, and air hockey and whatnot. But it was this neat little game that, you know, had some interesting ideas in it. It was, I remember seeing a video where it's like, oh, this is the game that teaches you how to play Hanafuda, which I had never played before. I have now. And I was like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to pick, because it was on sale, and I was like, you know, I'm kind of curious, and you know, for half off, yeah, I'll pick this up. Because it's kind of like, I've said the same, right, because, you know, I like collecting games. And I have a lot of weird games in my collection. And Clubhouse Games is one of those things where it's like, you know, I didn't want it at launch, but on sale, yeah, I'll buy it. I said the same thing about 1-2 Switch, where it's like, if 1-2 Switch ever goes off on sale for like $20, I'll pick it up. Because it's definitely not worth it at 50 or 60 or whatever they charged for it. But at like $20, yeah, sure, I'll pick it up to try it. I think I saw everybody 1-2 Switch go on sale. You know, the new one that came out just a few weeks ago for like $20, like half off. If it ever goes down to like 10 though, yeah, I'll probably pick it up just to have it as a game on my shelf. You know, why not? But yeah, Clubhouse Games has been fine. It's really nothing that special. You know, I played a few things. I got my ass kicked at chess. I played a bunch of Renegade because, you know, Renegade's a pretty fun game. I'm okay at it. I'm not great. Played a bunch of Solitaire. I absolutely dominated the AI in boxes. So, yeah. But yeah, have I really been playing anything else? Well, so, Starfield. Right, Starfield. So, I was going to play Starfield. I picked it up. It came out it comes out on the 6th, but I picked it up today. And, if it loads here. So, I bought an Xbox. Starfield is a game that interests me so much. I bought an Xbox just to play Starfield. So, I picked it up, right? I booted up the Xbox early this morning. And, oh god, is it ready? Oh shit, is it ready? So, my Xbox... Holy shit, yeah, there it is. Starfield, right there. So, I bought an Xbox in Starfield. And it came in at like 4 o'clock today. It is now 11 o'clock. So it has been several hours since then. And, right, I was just like, oh yeah, let's play Starfield, you know? I'm excited. So I started downloading it. What, almost 4, 5, 6, 7 hours ago, I started downloading Starfield, and it took 7 hours. Because I checked before we started the stream today, and it was at like 75%. So I have just been waiting all day for it to download Starfield. Because, yeah, my copy came in at like 4 o'clock. And there it is. Finally downloaded. That took forever. So no, I have not played Starfield yet, but we will talk about it next week. So yep, just keep that in mind. That is next week's big thing, is chatting about Starfield. Come on. There we go. So yes, I have downloaded Starfield. I do have the early access to play it. So right, I can start playing it, but we will start it next week. Or I'm not going to be streaming it. I mean, I've already said multiple times I will not be streaming Starfield. But we will talk about it next week. I'll tell you all the crazy things that have happened on my space adventure. How an Xbox is working for me. Well, I mean, I had an Xbox One. It's just now I have an Xbox. Because all those other games on there were games from the Xbox One. You know, from back when I had Game Pass, of which I currently do not. Because, yeah, I don't have Game Pass at the moment. I actually bought a physical copy of Starfield. Yep. But no, I'm excited to play Starfield. You know, I love me some Bethesda game. I know Bethesda games have flaws. I know they work in the cycle of explore, combat, loot. But I love that cycle, man. There's just something I find so fun about it. Does it have flaws? Sure. But Bethesda's done a lot of work to really make something good. And I'm sure this will be no exception. So yeah, so definitely, so we're not talking about it this week, but we will talk about it next week. For sure. Keep an eye out for that. But no, there's no, I was like, I don't want to stream Starfield. You know? Like, it took us over 2 months to do Tears of the Kingdom. It would take us a year to do Starfield. We would literally spend just the first episode on just the character creator. And ain't nobody got time for that. That was what because I did watch Kinda Funny's video where they talked about Starfield. I did watch their review. And that was Snowbike Mike spent like an hour creating his character and whatnot. I think they're still going. Because they're doing like a thing where like every subscription equals another like minute of gameplay or something like that. Maybe it's 30 seconds. And they're still going like a day and a half later. Like they went for almost 24 hours on their first day. You know, they're doing one of those like subathon things. So yeah, that's cool. So yeah. So I haven't been able to play Starfield. I have been playing Vampire Survivors though. Vampire Survivors, as of today, I have finished. While I was waiting for Starfield to download, I've been playing Vampire Survivors. I have completed the original collection, which unlocks the Queen or something like. It unlocks like a Queen character. So I did finally unlock the Queen today, and you know I'm making good progress on that. I unlocked the Chaos Malachite or something like that, which does something, I think. I don't know. There's still I beat the director. That's one of those things that I did. Because I seen the director where you unlock inverse and endless mode, and I unlocked endless, and then I couldn't figure out how to download how to unlock inverse. So I finally Googled it, and I was able to get inverse. And then to unlock like the inverse levels, you have to get to level 80, and I just cannot get to level 80. I got to literally, I want to say like 76 earlier today on like the library, but I just could not get to 80. So I've been struggling with that. But no, Vampire Survivors is still amazing. The game has finally been out long enough that I can see how long I've put on Nintendo Switch. I am currently at 25 hours. It might be up to 30, honestly, because I checked early this morning, and I've played a bunch since then. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm up to 30. But no, I've put a lot of time into Vampire Survivors. Well, will I get to that 70 hours? Who knows? I did finally play the Gospel of Moonspell. So there's 2 DLCs, the Gospel of Moonspell, and I don't remember what the other one is. And I finally played the Gospel of Moonspell, unlocked some of their new characters, got some of those new weapons, of which some of those weapons, I think it's called like 4 Seasons. 4 Seasons is fantastic. I've been having great success with that weapon. So yeah, the 4 Seasons has worked great for me, and its upgrade. I've also been, because I use the garlic a lot. The same weapon that upgrades garlic also upgrades the Silverwind. So I've been using Silverwind a lot as well, because it's just easy to upgrade one than the other. But yeah, no, that weapon's gonna go in good. But you know, I've had some really good runs. I have so many clips that I've just been saving of just the crazy shit that's been happening to me. But Vampire Survivors is a fantastic game. I knew it was going to make Game of the Year, right? If I had played it more last year, it would have made Game of the Year last year. But I didn't, so it didn't. But this year it probably will. This year's Game of the Year is fucking stacked. We've still got a Mario game and a Spider-Man game. And I haven't even touched Starfield yet. Which, you know, it's been doing pretty well. I think it's sitting at like an 88 on OpenCritic. It's not bad. That's not bad at all. Yeah, I still highly recommend Vampire Survivors. It is so good. And for $5, 30 hours, that's a pretty great... That's like Hollow Knight levels right there. Because Hollow Knight I got for like $10. And I think I put like 60 hours into that one. So $5 for 30. And I still haven't even done one of the DLCs. It's fantastic. I just... Oh, shit. There it is. Oh, I've got that. Oh, nice. I really don't have much range on these things. Yeah, three of us having these short-range weapons is really making things difficult. Yeah, this is definitely the place to go. But we've already failed. Yeah, no, there's too many short range. Yeah, no, Vampire Survivors is fantastic. High recommendation. It is so good. So, what else? So I did watch an anime. The anime is specifically called... Ready for this name? Because it's an isekai. So you know it's got a fucking stupid name. It is called Trapped in a Dating Sim. The World of Otome Games is Tough for Mobs. So, it's an isekai where a guy gets trapped in a dating... Right, like a dating sim reverse harem game. And he's reborn into this world as, like, a generic NPC. Like a background NPC. Someone who has no involvement in the story. He's like some, like, barren... Right, like, lowest form of social class. You know, all standard isekai shit. And eventually, through circumstance... At first, he's struggling with the game. But because he's played the game... So, in the real world... He only played the game because his sister asked him to. His sister was like, hey, beat this game for me. Do 100% completion, right? Get me the platinum trophy, basically. So he did that, and then as soon as he beat the game, he died. So because he now knows everything about the game, and he knows about, like, the microtransactions and whatnot, he's able to go and find, like, a secret endgame item that just makes him, like, super OP. So in the first episode, he goes and he does that. And, you know, he's one of those main characters, you know, standard isekai protagonist, where he claims that he wants to live, you know, just a normal, boring life where nobody bothers him. He's one of those types of isekai protagonists. But then, of course, because he's got the most OP armor and weapons in the game, everyone's relying on him. So what ends up so because he finds this like super powerful weapon, he ends up like ranking up a class or something like that, and he gets sent to magic school. In magic school, he ends up meeting. So in magic school is where the game takes place, and he's like, okay, well, you know, I'm just gonna try to avoid all the main characters, all the harem guys, because you know it's a reverse harem game, right? He's just gonna try to avoid all of that. That's like his plan. But then, once he gets there, things at the school are different, right? Like, there's this new character in the game who he never saw before. All the events that should be happening to the protagonist of the game aren't happening. So instead, he has to, like, step in and, like, help out the protagonist, where, like, normally another character would, because this new girl who's shown up out of nowhere is, you know, screwing up with the events of the game. So the twist is, very obviously, that this new girl is another person who's been isekai'd. And it goes one step beyond that, because you eventually find out, even though they never talk about this, right? It's all just kind of hinted at multiple times. The new girl, who's like, you know, messing with the story, is his sister. Right? Because the new girl mentions multiple times that she has a brother, but like they never actually, they never talk to each other about it. Like, he's aware that she's been isekai'd as well. But do they ever have a conversation about it? Do they ever ask, like, oh, who were you? Nope, that never happens. So, yeah. But she's basically set herself up as the main character. Because she knows what happens in the game, she's just able to be at the events where the main character should be at. And instead, the main character ends up befriending the protagonist, the guy who'd been isekai'd, but also the villain of the game. Right, the hero, like the main character of the video game and the guy who's been isekai'd end up befriending the villain. And you learn, like, oh, the villain's like an actual person. And there's a bunch of shit happens. Like, there's a tournament where, like, in the game, the boys are supposed to step up to defend the protagonist's honor. But instead, the isekai guy steps up to protect the bully's honor. Because, you know, the events of the game have been changed. But because he has that OP weapon, he's able to, you know, change the events of the game and defeat all the the love interests, basically. The problem is I don't remember anybody's name. That's really the problem, is I don't remember anybody's fucking name. So I just keep calling them protagonist, main character, shit like that. But, as the story goes on, you know, he eventually starts, like, helping out some of the guys, because they get disinherited after he kicks their ass. He starts moving up in rank, right? Oh, he goes from a baron to a baronet to, like, a duke or a fiefdom or whatever. Not a duke, but, you know, he moves up in social classes. And that pisses him off, because he tries to, like, get himself, like, disinherited, so that way he can just go alone and live a private life. But every time it just actually gets him promoted more and more. He meets the queen, he meets the prince's mom, the queen, who, he starts hitting on. Because they do a maid cafe at one point. All the events of the game get, like, shifted around, like, stuff because of the other isekai person, right, the sister's interactions. It ends up, like, shifting the events of the game, so stuff that's not supposed to happen until, like, year 3 of the game starts happening at, like, year 1, and that starts screwing with everything. But you know, the main character has all of his OP powers, so of course he's going to solve every problem. And they actually do something kind of interesting, where they bring up that because the main character, right, the isekai guy, is solving all of the problems before the hero, you know, the protagonist of the game is never given a chance to grow and become, like, an actual, like, person, because the second she has a problem, the main character just goes and solves it. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting idea, right? Like, and like, there's like this sassy robot that like is like also kind of aware that it's a game, but he hates the new humans for magic and whatnot. And yeah, he figures out like, oh, you know, all the plot character growth that's supposed to happen to the video game protagonist, you've stripped away from her, and now she's like a much weaker person because of it. It's all your fault. And because of that, it like kind of messes him up, and he's like, you know, maybe I'm just gonna step away and instead try to hook her up with one of the people she should be dating in the video game. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of an interesting, right? Like, a consequence of this being like an overpowered main character isekai. Do they go all the way with it? Of course not. But, you know, they at least try. But yeah, it's just another generic isekai. So I did watch another isekai this week. Specifically one called, at least I started one called I'm the Villainous and I'm Taming the Final Boss. That one's been a lot more fun. That one's, right, it's one of my favorite. Okay, so the best isekai, in my humble opinion, is, My Life as a Villainous, All Routes Lead to Doom. Right, about this Katarina Clays who is reborn as the villain of her favorite game, and she has to eventually like figure out like, oh, how do I avoid, you know, being killed at the end of the game? Like, that's her big character arc. And, you know, of course, early on, and, you know, it's just a really cool bisexual harem. It's actually, she's got both male and female love interests, which I think is just very neat. You know, you don't really, it's literally the only harem anime I can think of that does that. Right, so this one, I'm the Villainous and I'm Taming the Final Boss, is, right, she's reborn in an isekai game as the Villainous, but, like, also, one of the where I left off, I'm at, like, episode, like, 9 or 10. And where I left off, the big reveal was that the girl who is the protagonist of the isekai game is also an isekai, right? Of the Tome game, has also been isekai herself. So basically, there are two isekai people as well in this one, and right, basically the person who's isekai as the protagonist is trying to make sure the events of the game still happen. Meanwhile, the main character is trying to like redeem the final boss. But she does that in, like, 4 episodes, right? So, like, Katarina Clays, the entire show is the plot of the first game. And in the second season is kind of like, it takes place in this in-between time between the first and the second game. And then if that show ever gets a third season, it will presumably take place during the second game. This one, however, spends the first, like, 4 episodes in the first game. And by the end of it, she's already won, and she's engaged to the final boss. And then in the second part, like the episodes like 5, 6, 7, and 8, she's doing the plot of the second game, which takes place at like a high school, and right, all sorts of things happen from there. Yeah, it goes very fast. Like, they definitely don't have much room to breathe. But I think it's actually working pretty well. At least I've been enjoying it. I definitely enjoy My Life as a Villainous, All Paths Lead to Doom. Even though that one has its own set of problems. Not really problems, I feel like they're missed opportunities. That's the word I'm going to use. Missed opportunities. Right, but I feel like that's just the nature of the isekai genre at this point. But no, I've been enjoying it, because this was actually I'm Taming the Final Boss, was a manga that was recommended to me. Someone recommended, because after I told someone I liked My Life as a Villainous, All Paths Lead to Doom, someone was like, oh, you should check out this manga with Katarina Clay, or, right, you should check out Taming the Final Boss. And there's another one about a villainess as well that I think is getting an anime adaptation next year, or maybe later this year. I do not remember what it's called, but it's also about a villainess that I've also heard is good, and I will definitely check out at some point. I could look that one up. God, but all isekais have to have such fucking long titles. I'm in love. It's just called I'm in Love with the Villainess. That's one of the mangas, and then the other one is The Most Heretical Last Boss Queen from Villainess to Savior. So those were two other shows that have been recommended to me. Oh shit, oh shit, I fucking... I fucking got squid kidded. We're in a really tight spot here. Oh god, don't try. Yeah, so you know, isekais, man, they're kind of the holding pattern. I feel like every isekai is now taking influence from that fucking slime show that I thought was okay. You know, I liked the first season. I heard the second season was just war crimes, the show. So that's a whole thing, but I liked the first season. The Rimuru, the slime. Yeah. Ouroboros. Ooh, let's go. So the only other thing I've been... So, right, other than that... we'll talk more about that other final boss anime or another week, right? Taming the final boss. But, the only other thing is, so, the book Nimona. So, I bought this book years ago now. It's been years since I bought this book. And it was always one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, I'll read this eventually. Because, you know, I liked, I was a big fan of Lumberjanes, right? And I think I know we talked about it at some point. I want to say like last year, no, probably 2 years ago, when it finally wrapped up. But yeah, I was a fan of Lumberjanes. But I had never actually read Nimona. I had a copy forever now, but I had never actually read it until this year, because, you know, the movie came out. Now, the problem with me talking about it is that I saw the movie, and then I finally read the book, after years of owning it. And so, it's kind of hard for me to talk about the book without talking about the movie, because I saw the movie first. Even though I've owned the book forever now. So, I don't, other than saying, like, I read it, I enjoyed it, I recommend it, I don't really know what else to say about it. Because anything I want to say would be a comparison to the movie. And we can't talk about the movie. Because of the strike. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. Right? Like, I could, but no, I'm just not going to. So, yeah, I read the book Nimona. I recommend it. It's a good book. I read I think it's the updated version. Because I now own 2 copies of it. That's a whole other thing that I don't even want to get into. But I have, like, an older version and a newer version. And, like, the real big difference I can tell is, like, in the older version, she has, like, a slightly different haircut. Which I don't know why that is, but that's kind of the case. Like, it's weird, like, she has, like, what is it? Oh, God, let me... Give me a second. I have it right here. Oh, come on. Yeah, like in the old version, she doesn't have like her little dangly side hair thingies, but in the newer version, she does. The art style looks a little different, not by much, but it's definitely a little different. I don't know. The older version feels more like webcomic based, because it was originally a webcomic as far as I know. So the older version feels more webcomic based, whereas the newer version is, just a little bit more touched up, a little bit more refined. But yeah. I'd rather have the new one. Some new items. God, they're all so freaking expensive. I've still never gotten a gold shell. The game's almost a year old, and I have never gotten a gold shell. It's a shame. But yeah, I read Nimona. I've added the movie to the strike list, so we'll talk more about it once the strike is over. Which, who knows how long that could be, but solidarity with the writers and the actors. We'll talk about it then. But I did read the book. Yeah, I recommend it. I also do recommend Lumberjanes. At least some of it. I definitely feel like near the end it kind of started to fall off. But early on, it was pretty good. When did it fall off? I want to say the first one that I really had a problem with was... maybe it was either the rainy season where it's like the rainy day where they're like stuck inside, or it's the one like right after that where I was like, I don't know, and then it just ended. But I'm pretty sure we talked about that back in like 2 seasons ago, right back in season 2 of this show. I'm sure we talked about Lumberjanes at some point because I want to say that's when it wrapped up, or like that's when I finally finished it. I cannot believe I'd owned the book for years now. Years. I just never read it. But I picked up the newer edition and I was like, oh, I guess this will finally get me to read it. And then it sat on my shelf for like a month. But I finally, earlier this week, had like it took me about 2 hours to read the whole thing. And I was like, yeah, I've got 2 hours. That's plenty of time. I can do that. Oh, so I guess in the new update for the game, some of the splash tags have changed. Like, some of the splash tags now have new, text. So I'm assuming I'm still a salty Octarian, but I don't honestly know. I want to say they got rid of Beefy. Like, that's one of the things they got rid of, was the splash tag Beefy. I don't know, where do I even see my splash tag? But yeah, I think... So yeah, we'll talk about Nimona again another day. But I did read the book, and I recommend it. That's like the 5th time I've said that. Alright, so I guess let's go to the outro. So yeah, the new Splatoon update has come out. It's whatever. Okay, I am still a salty Octarian. So that hasn't changed. I don't know. I know they added some new stuff. They did add, this new, the bread box here, as I called it on accident. They added this new, I think it's called it's called the Dread Ringer, and I accidentally called it the Bread Ringer. But yeah, it shoots like you can see it kind of when I move. It shoots like 2 different streams, one out the top, one out the bottom. I definitely don't like it as much as I do the Tri-Slosher. Right, because you can see it's like if you get both hits off, it's a 2-hit kill. But if you miss one, then it's a 3-shot, right? If you hit only one of the 3 hits, then it's a 3-shot kill. And it's actually kind of easy to miss one of them. So, yeah. I don't know how much I feel... Right, whereas the only time the Tri-Slosher is a 3-hit is if you're going from, like, above like this down below. Yeah, and I haven't tried the heavy edit Splatling. Yeah, it's still a 2-shot. Yeah, no, I like the Tri-Slosher more. And its kit, I mean, it's got Suction Bomb, which I think is fine. But it's got Reef Slider, which... Ooh, that sure is a weapon, alright. And then there's other new weapons. There's, Gold Dynamo, which looks okay, you know. I think that's whatever. But Sorella Umbrella... Giving it Auto Bomb... Oh boy, is that great. That's great. And I think Inkjet's... This is honestly probably the best kit Umbrella could get. Maybe second best. I think we talked about this. But no, so I'm excited about that. Will I actually be playing Sorella Umbrella? Probably not. Right. I played Umbrella in 2. I liked my Umbrella. I don't need to use Umbrella again. You know, I think the age of Umbrella has come and gone. But it sure is a weapon that exists. And it's good that it finally has a good kit. Here we have the heavy editing. Which I don't know. I don't remember what's special about the heavy editing. Does it store a charge? No, it doesn't. I know there's something special about this. I just don't know what it is. Yeah, I have no idea what's special about this heavy editing. Yeah. You know, I know a lot of people are super underwhelmed about this season. And, like, rightfully so in some cases. But, you know, I don't know. I definitely hope that once the big, the side order comes out, that the game kind of ramps up in the updates. Because I know in Splatoon 2, once the, Octo expansion came out, the updates for the game really ramped up. And my guess is that we're probably... Because I thought we were going to get the DLC at year 1. Because we got the, Octo expansion 1 year after Splatoon 2's release date. I think it was actually less than a year. I think it was like 12 or 11 months. Part of me was hoping that at a year, but I bet we'll get it before the next season. Whatever the winter season's going to be. Because right now, we're in the fall season. So I'm going to guess we're going to get it probably in November. We're going to get the next season. And I'm sure when we do, that's going to come with the DLC and... Definitely the Splatoon 2 lobby. I don't know. It's interesting because as part of this, they've actually, like that turtle we just bought is actually a reference to Splatoon 2, which I think is super interesting. So we're probably going to get more stuff like that. Yeah, I have no idea what's special about this. Like, I can tell the bucket right away. This... Does it make this? Does it get a little longer? Is it... Because, I mean, that's hitting every time. No, that seems to be fine. I don't know. I don't know what's different about it. But I'm just going to stick to my trusty old bucket. 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 Just works. Just works, man. But yeah, so in this upcoming week, I'm gonna be playing Starfield, right? Start all my time, right? I put 30 hours into Vampire Survivors. Now it's Starfield's time to shine, which I'll probably put who knows how long in. I don't know. I've been recommended, based on like multiple reviews and whatnot, to beat the main story and then go do all the like side questing and digesting I want. But that's the exact opposite of how I'd recommend like Fallout 4. Like if you've never played Fallout 4 but kind of want to, I would recommend doing all the side questing stuff and just completely ignore the main story because the main story's garbage. So I don't know how to feel about this, but you know, we'll see. I'll figure it out. But next week, we're definitely going to talk about, right, I'll give a big diatribe on Starfield. Will I have beaten it? Who knows? Will I beat the main story? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I'm hoping I have fun with it. You know, as I become a geologist, I think that's the joke I made, was that I was going to become a geologist. I'm going to study rocks and shit. Oh my god. I've been watching... I don't know why that made me think of Smosh. Smosh has been doing a series about them watching their... So it's Ian and Anthony watching their old Smosh videos. And, like, giving behind-the-scenes details. And, like, talking about, like, video development. And it's been great. There's like 3 episodes out right now. I think a new episode came out today. But if you are a fan of old school Smosh, I highly recommend it. Because it's that exact hit of nostalgia. Like Tomska, right? The guy who does Astuff movie, does like a bunch of videos about like him looking back at his old stuff and like reflecting on Astuff movie, his sketches and whatnot. And part of the Smosh Reunite, I was kind of hoping they were going to do something like that. And yeah, sure enough, it's called like Flashback with Smosh. And I've been enjoying it. They've done the Assassin's Creed, they did Voodoo Doll, they did Death Note. I'm waiting for Easy Bake Oven. Because that's my favorite Smosh sketch, is the evil Easy Bake Oven. So it's only a matter of time until they do that one. Because I know they will. It's part of their background, so they definitely will. But yeah, no, I've been enjoying the Flashback with Smosh. Real hit of nostalgia from back in the classic days. Yeah, it's been great. The Smosh reunion, right, the Ian and Anthony buying back Smosh, has been fantastic. But yeah, so I think that's all. You know, we've been rambling for the past few minutes. We'll be back next week with Splatoon, same time, same night. And then I want to say the week after that is Pokemon. I want to say Pokemon comes out like the 13th or around then. So we'll probably on that, you know, Friday or whatever when it comes out. I know the Mewtwo raid is going on right now. That started today. But yeah, whatever day the Pokemon raid starts, we will be doing that. Or whatever the Pokemon DLC is. I guess a bunch of stuff got leaked. How the deal... Like, I understand how certain Switch games leak early. How a DLC leaks, I have no fucking idea. Unless, you know, it was leaked from the Pokemon company themselves. Like, somebody internally leaked it. Because, like, other Switch games, I totally get how those leak, right? Like, when, like, Tears of the Kingdom came out, I totally understood how that leaked. But a DLC, that sounds really weird. But I guess it did, supposedly. I don't know. I've only seen, like, one thing so far that I don't even know if it's real or not, but I'm just going to kind of assume it is, because I think it'd be weird if it wasn't. So, yeah. But yeah, with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time. Peace. Oh, we also got Splatfest next week. Duh. Alright. Oh, I completely ruined that ending.